Welcome to the sixth lecture of module 5 of mass transfer operation. In this module we are discussing distillation operations. So, before going to this lecture, let us have a brief recap on our previous lecture. In our previous lecture, we have considered continuous multi-stage fractionation, the second thing we have considered is different fit conditions. Under which we have considered both cases of vapor and liquid flows. And third thing we have considered operating lines. This is also for both rectifying section and the stripping section. So, in this lecture we will mainly consider equimolal overflow, then we will consider feed tray and feed line, the third thing we will consider McCabe-Thiele method, to determine number of ideal trays. We will also consider different limiting cases such as total reflux, and minimum reflux. We will consider one analytical method to find out the number of trays using Fensky equation. So, let us start with equimolal overflow. Calculation using the equations discussed in our previous lectures are much more convenient if the two operating equations are straight lines. Both rectifying section operating line and the stripping section operating line, if they are straight line, it would be much easier for the calculation. This is true only if the liquid and the vapor flows do not change in the given section of the column. Then what is required for them to be constant, that is the vapor and the liquid flow, they remains constant. Constant molar overflow, also called equimolar overflow, is what is needed to be constant for the liquid and the vapor flows. This occurs when the molar heat of vaporization of the liquid is essentially equal to that of the vapor phase. That is, the heat needed to vaporize 1 mole of the liquid is roughly the same as that of the heat released when 1 mole of vapor is condensed. And consequently, any condensation on a stage is balanced out by vaporization, and flow rates within the column are changed solely due to the feed and product streams. The quickest way we can check the validity of this assumption is to compare the heats of vaporization of the components. If the ratio is roughly 1:1, then the assumption is probably acceptable. The ratio of the heat of vaporizations of the two components, if that is 1:1, then this assumption of equimolar overflow will be probably acceptable or will be constant. When x is equal to xd, then y would be equal to yd as well. This means that the point xd and xd lies on the rectifying line. If we assume this, then rectifying operating line can be drawn using only this point and the slope. Similarly, for stripping operating line can be drawn with the point xw and the slope. Now, let us consider feed tray. So, this is a feed tray where feed enters with the composition ZF and flow rate, molar flow rate is F. Having the enthalpy HF and the liquid which is entered into this tray is L, and gas which entered in this tray is G bar, and liquid which comes out from the tray is L bar, and gas which goes out from the tray is G. So, these having the enthalpy HF, this is having HL bar, this is Hg bar, this is Hg, and this is having HL. Now, it may be useful to examine the steady state balances on a feed tray. The total material balance on the feed tray, we can write the entering components, entering flows, that is F is the feed plus the liquid from the top tray is L, and the vapor which is entering from the bottom tray of the feed tray is G bar, which is equal to the liquid leaving from the tray is L bar plus the gas or vapor leaving the tray is G. So, this is the total material balance on feed tray. Now, if we do the energy balance, assume that the change in enthalpy of a phase as it passes through the feed point is small. So, in that case we can write F HF plus L HL plus G bar Hg would be equal to L bar HL plus G Hg. So, in this case the enthalpy of the vapor which is coming to this tray is considered as Hg, and the enthalpy of the liquid which is coming down from the tray is also considered as HL. So, this is due to this assumptions that the change in enthalpy of the phases as it passes through the feed tray is small. So, we can write L bar minus L into HL is equal to G bar minus G into Hg plus F into Hf. Now, using the total material balance equation, we can write this is the total material balance equation, F plus L plus G bar is equal to L bar plus G. From here we can write G bar minus G is equal to L bar minus L minus F. So, now if we consider the earlier equation, enthalpy balance equation or the energy balance equation, which is L bar minus L into HL is equal to G bar minus G into Hg plus F Hf. So, if we substitute this G bar minus G is L bar minus L minus F. So, in place of this, if we substitute this one, then we will have L bar minus L into HL is equal to L bar minus L minus F into Hg plus F Hf, which is equal to L bar minus L into Hg plus F into Hf minus Hg. From here we can rearrange and we can write L bar minus L into HL minus Hg is equal to F into Hf minus Hg. And again we can write L bar minus L by F is equal to Hf minus Hg divided by HL minus Hg. Now, if we just rearrange this one, we can write Hg minus Hf divided by Hg minus HL, which we can define as Q. We can see that L bar minus L is equal to increase in the liquid flow rate across the feed tray as a result of introduction of feed. So, this is why we can write it as the rate of input of the liquid with the feed. So, Q is defined as the fraction of the liquid in the feed. Another significance is as follows. This is the equation, L bar minus L divided by F is equal to Hg minus Hf divided by Hg minus HL is equal to Q. So, in previous slides we have said that the Q is defined as the fraction of the liquid in the feed, that is in the left hand side L bar minus L by F. So, L bar minus L is the liquid which is available in the feed. So, it is the fraction of the liquid in the feed, that is Q. And from the right hand side, this Hg minus Hf by Hg minus HL we can write the heat required to convert 1 mole of feed to saturated vapor divided by the molar heat of vaporization of the saturated liquid. we can see that this is the enthalpy of the saturated liquid and Hg is the enthalpy of the vapor. So, Hg minus HL is the molar heat of vaporization of the saturated liquid, and Hg minus Hf is the heat required to convert 1 mole of feed to saturated vapor. So, this is the ratio of heat required to convert 1 mole of feed to saturated vapor divided by molar heat of vaporization of the saturated liquid. It would be nice to know where the rectifying line and the stripping section line intersect. The point of intersection, which is xy, must be satisfied by rectifying and stripping section line, because that is also in the column. The feed tray is inside the column. So, the feed point must be satisfied, that is xy feed point must be satisfied with the rectifying, both the rectifying section and the stripping section operating lines. So, the point of intersection xy must be satisfied by the material balance equation of both rectifying and stripping section operating lines. If the point of intersection is xy, then rectifying section we can write gy would be equal to L into x plus d into xd. xd is the composition of the distillate. The stripping balance we can write G bar into y would be equal to L bar into x minus w xw. So, xw is the composition of the bottom product. Now, if we subtract the stripping balance from the rectifying balance, which will yield G minus G bar into y is equal to L minus L bar into x plus d into xd plus w into xw. Now, if we do the overall material balance over the whole fractionator, the above equations will reduce to G minus G bar into y would be equal to L minus L bar into x plus F into ZF. The overall balance equation is F ZF would be equal to d xd plus w xw. So, if we substitute here F ZF, this equation will reduce to G minus G bar into y is equal to L minus L bar into x plus F ZF. Now, if we divide by F to the total material balance equation and use the definition of Q, then we can write G bar minus G by F plus 1 is equal to L bar minus L by F, which is equal to Q. So, this is the definition of the Q line. Now, if we substitute this definition of Q in the material balance equation over here in this equation, we can write minus G bar minus G divided by F into y is equal to minus L bar minus L by F into x plus ZF. So, this is nothing but Q. So, minus Q minus 1 into y is equal to minus Q into x plus ZF, and if we just simplify, this will give y is equal to q by q minus 1 into x minus zf by q minus 1. So, this is the equation of the q line or the feed line having the slope q by q minus 1 and intercept is minus zf by q minus 1. So, now this is the feed conditions or the positions of the feed line and their slopes depending on the values of q or the feed conditions. If case 1, if it is cold feed, then the positive slope and lie to the right of the verticals. Cold feed means the feed is completely liquid. So, q will be the amount of feed plus the liquid vapor which will be condensed in the feed tray because of the introduction of the cold feed, and some vapor will condense and increase the temperature of the feed to the boiling point. So, the q would be greater than 1 and slope will be positive and it will lie on the right of the vertical line. So, this is for cold feed line with a positive slope and it is the diagonal line x is equal to y. Now, case 2, if we have saturated liquid. So, if saturated liquid, the feed is the completely liquid at its bubble point and we need not to heat it up, or the vapor which will come from the bottom of the tray will not be condensed on the feed tray. So, the q would be 1 and the slope, that is q by q minus 1, the slope will be infinite. So, it will be a vertical line shown over here. Case 3 is the saturated vapor, and for saturated vapor the feed is, the q is 0, that means the complete feed is the vapor feed. So, in that case when q is 0, then the slope is 0 and it is horizontal line. For case 4, that is for a mixture of vapor liquid feed, it will lie between the horizontal and vertical line because the slope is negative for q less than 1 and greater than 0. So, this is the partially vaporized feed. So, the slope is negative and this will lie in between vertical and horizontal line. Case 5 is the superheated feed which will produce a line below the horizontal because the q is less than 0. So, for superheated vapor it will lie between the horizontal line and the diagonal line. Rectifying and stripping line intersects on the feed line. If the column has an intermediate feed or the product, the same rules also apply. So, these are the slope and position of the feed lines. Before beginning most distillation calculations, a decision must be reached. What are them? That is, does the equimolar overflow apply for this process or for this application? If so, the operating equations are straight line and you have one set of option, that is the McCabe-Thiele method of determining the number of stages, that is graphical method. If not, then energy balances must be explicitly considered. There are several ways of incorporating the energy effects. One such method is the Panchan and Savarid method, which is a graphical method that does not require an assumption of equimolal overflow. Now, graphical construction is done on the enthalpy composition diagram. In all cases, one can use a stepping approach. Starting from one end of the column, the component, materials and energy balances can be solved simultaneously. After a stage is determined, you can step up or step down to the next and calculate that stage. Depending on what information is known, the form of equilibrium relations and other things, this approach may require an iterative solutions. So, regarding the determination of the number of trays using the Panchan and Savarid method, we will consider in the later part of our discussion. In this lecture, we will consider graphical method of determination of number of ideal trays by McCabe-Thiele method. So, the topic which we will consider here is the McCabe-Thiele graphical construction, determination of number of ideal trays and the mole fractions of the bottoms, that is XW, the total reflux and example. The graphical McCabe-Thiele method can be used to determine the number of ideal stages and feed tray locations. To do this, you make a plot showing the equilibrium curve, then the feed line, then the operating line for the rectifying and stripping sections, all on the same axis. Then find answers by graphical construction. So, this is a typical fractionator or distillation column where feed is entered at a certain location or certain tray, and then the vapor goes off and it condenses, and then it is taken to the reflux drum. Part of the product is taken as distillate and part of that is returned back as reflux to the column. The liquid comes down and there is a partial reboiler where it is boiled off. The boil off vapor goes to the tray, returned to the column, and the product is taken as bottoms. So, this is already we have discussed. Depending on the feed conditions, we have feed line. The rectifying section operating line slope is L by G, which is equal to R by R plus 1, which is less than 1. This is the equation of the rectifying section operating line. Y n plus 1 would be equal to R by R plus 1 into x n plus x d by R plus 1. Stripping section operating line slope is equal to L bar by L bar minus W, and the stripping section operating line equation is y m plus 1 equal to L bar by L bar minus W into x m minus W by L bar minus W into x w. So, this is stripping section operating line equation, this is rectifying section operating line equation, and this is the different feed line depending on the feed condition. So, we can locate different points, we can draw the equilibrium curve, we can draw the operating line for both the sections and we can draw the feed line, and then by this graphical method we can calculate the number of trays. So, we will come step by step how to determine the number of ideal trays required following McCabe-Thiele method of graphical construction. So, these 10 steps we need to follow to determine the number of ideal stage by this method. In the first step, plot the equilibrium curve and the 45-degree line. So, this is the equilibrium curve and this is the 45-degree diagonal. So, this is the first step we have to do. In the second step, locate and plot the given composition, that is ZF, XW and XD. So, you have to locate these points on the curve. So, this is ZF which is on the 45-degree diagonal, then XD is over here and then XW is over here. So, the location of these points on the 45-degree diagonal should be known or should be located. Step 3, calculate slope, that is q by q minus 1 of the q line and draw q line using x is equal to ZF and the slope. So, this is the point at z is equal to ZF and slope is q by q1, q by q minus 1. So, if we know the slope and this point, we can draw this q line. So, this is the q line. The next step is to draw the rectifying section operating line, that is to draw the rectifying section operating line, calculate y intercept, that is xd by r plus 1 of the rectifying line and draw the operating line OL for rectifying section. Since xd is known to us, so we can locate this point, we can calculate, we know the xd and we know the reflux ratio. So, we can calculate easily xd by r plus 1. So, we can locate the intercept on the y axis and then we can join these 2 points to obtain the rectifying section operating line. So, this is much easier to draw instead of using this point and the slope of the operating line. Similarly, for the step 5, we can draw operating line for stripping section using point XW and XW, which is located over here, and the intersection between the rectifying section operating line and the Q line. Since the rectifying section operating line and Q line intersects over at this point, the stripping section would also pass through this point, intersection point, because this line also valid in the feed line equation. So, all the 3 lines should intersect at the same point. From XD, locate x1 and y1 drawing a horizontal line. So, from XD we can draw a horizontal line over here and locate the values at x1 and y1. So, this is for stage 1. Now, find y2 drawing a vertical line to the operating line. So, come vertically to the operating line and then from this point locate the mass balance conditions between x1 and y2. So, if we locate the mass balance equation x1 and y2, we can calculate the values for y2. From y2 draw a horizontal line to the equilibrium line for stage 2 to locate the x2. So, from here again go to the equilibrium line, this is for stage 2, and then come down to the vertically to the operating line, and then again go to the equilibrium line, come down to the operating line in the stripping section, and then it will continue until the terminal point is reached. So, this way the end after predetermined number of stages or when xi is less than xw. So, at this location this is crossing xw. So, it should close from over here. So, the number of stages required from this we can see it is less than 4. Please note that while drawing the staircase arrangement or the stages graphically, the shifting from rectifying section operating line to the stripping section operating line will happen in the feed line. So, you can see this is the intersection, this is the feed line. So, this plate 2 over here is the feed plate. Now, let us take an example. A mixture of 45 mole percent N-hexane and 55 mole percent N-heptane is subjected to continuous fractionation in a tray column at 1 atmosphere total pressure. The distillate contains 95% N-hexane and the residue contains 5% N-hexane. The feed is saturated liquid. A reflux ratio of 1.5 is used. The relative volatility of N-hexane in the mixture is 2.36. Now, we have to determine the number of ideal trays required. So, let us start with the conditions which are given. So, distillate is having 95% N-hexane, it is given. So, 95% N-hexane. So, the distillate composition or the location is XD would be 0.95. Feed mixture contains 45 mole percent N-hexane. So, the feed condition is XF on the 45 degree diagonal, which is 0.45. So, both distillate and feed are known. Then residue contains 5 mole percent of N-hexane. So, XW and XW is also known on the 45 degree diagonal, which is 0.05. Relative volatility of N-hexane is given, which is 2.36. Reflux ratio is 1.5. Now, from the data given, we can calculate the intercept of the rectifying section operating line, which is XD by R plus 1. So, XD by R plus 1, XD is given as 0.95 and R is 1.5. So, 0.95 by 1.5 plus 1, and which is equal to 0.38. Now, we have to calculate the slope of the Q line. Since in this case the feed is saturated liquid, since feed is saturated liquid, Q is equal to 1. So, we can calculate slope is equal to Q by Q minus 1, which is 1 by 1 minus 1, which is infinite. So, the slope is infinite. So, it will be a vertical line from the feed location of the feed on the 45 degree diagonal. The relative volatility equations we know, y is equal to alpha x divided by 1 plus alpha minus 1 into x. The relative volatility over here alpha is given as 2.36. From the equations which is given, y is equal to, if we substitute alpha which is 2.36, so this equation would be y is equal to 2.36 x divided by 1 plus 1.36. So, from here we at different values of x we can calculate y, and this is the data which is required to plot the equilibrium curve. So, with this data, this is the blue line represents here is the equilibrium line. And we know the intercept of the rectifying section operating line. So, we locate on the y curve which is 0.38, we locate the intersection point, and the composition of the distillate is given is 95% n-hexane. So, we know the point on the 45-degree diagonal which is 0.95, 0.95. So, with this we can plot the operating line of the rectifying section. We also know the fit point, that is ZF 0.45 on the 45-degree diagonal, and the slope of the q line is q by q minus 1 is equal to infinite for q is equal to 1. So, we can plot a vertical line over here which will intersect at this location. Since the bottom composition, that is the residue composition, is 5 mole percent n-hexane is known. So, 0.05, 0.05 this location is known, and the intersection point between the q line and the rectifying section operating line is known. So, we will join these points and get the stripping section operating line. From this point we can do the staircase, we can plot the horizontal line from the 45-degree diagonal. It will go to the, if we draw the horizontal line from this distillate points, that is xd, it will go to the equilibrium curve. So, this will give the first ray and then go vertically to the operating line, and then horizontally this will give stage 2, and similar way if we just proceed the staircase arrangement, we will obtain about 6 number of ideal trays required for this separation. Now, we will consider limiting cases. Frequently when analyzing or designing a process, it is useful to look at limiting cases to assess the possible values of process parameters. In distillation analysis, separation of a pair of components can be improved by increasing the number of stages while holding the reflux constant, or by increasing the reflux flow for a given number of stages. This trade-off sets up two limiting cases. One is total reflux, that is minimum number of stages, and another one is minimum reflux, infinite number of stages. The design trade-off between reflux and the stages is the standard economic optimization problem for the chemical engineers always face. Balancing capital cost, that is the number of trays to be built, versus the operating cost, that is the amount of reflux to be recirculated. So, this is required. A good design will operate near a cost optimum reflux ratio. So, we have to find out the optimum reflux ratio for the particular operation. If the liquid from the overhead condenser is totally recycled to the column as reflux, that is no distillate is removed from the reflux drum, that is D is equal to 0. So, in that case the column is set to run at total reflux. So, at total reflux what happens, the reflux ratio becomes infinite because R is equal to L naught by D, and D we are not taking any product out, all the vapor condensed and returned back as reflux. So, no distillate is taken out, so the reflux ratio is infinite. So, no product is drawn from the reboiler either. All the liquid flowing to the reboiler is vaporized and fed back to the column. So, in a column operating at total reflux under steady state conditions, there should not be any flow of the feed into it. So, you can see over here recycling all exiting vapors as reflux and all exiting liquid as boil off. So, operating line have slope of 1, no product is produced, that is feed must then go to 0. So, we should not give any feed during this operation. At total reflux, the slope of the rectifying section operating line is R by R plus 1 for R tends to infinite would be, that is the slope of the line is unity and it passes through the point XD on the diagonal. So, slope of the operating line, that is R by R plus 1 when is equal to 1 at R tends to infinite. Therefore, the operating line coincides with the diagonal. So, both the operating line, both rectifying section as well as the stripping section operating line will fall on the 45° diagonal. So, does the stripping section operating line. With the operating lines on the diagonal, they are far as they can get from the equilibrium curve. If the number of plates are stepped off using the diagonal and the equilibrium curve, the number of theoretical stages will be the minimum. Because of the maximum driving force, that is 45° diagonal and the equilibrium line, that is the maximum driving force. So, the number of trays required in this case will be minimum under total reflux conditions. This gives the theoretical minimum number of stages to achieve a given separation. Total reflux is very often used during the startup of column till the steady state condition is reached. Also, product is not withdrawn until a separation close to that desired is achieved. After this, continuous feed flow and product withdrawal are started. Now, we will consider Fenske equation is another method for determining the minimum number of trays required for a given separation. This is the analytical method. It is an example of shortcut distillation method. There are a number of these approximate methods available to get initial estimate of distillation requirements. This equation can be used to theoretically calculate minimum number of trays if the relative volatility remains reasonably constant throughout the column. Now, let Nm be the minimum number of trays in the column, besides there is a total reboiler. If alpha W is the relative volatility of A at the reboiler temperature and pressure, XW and YW are the equilibrium liquid and vapor concentration in the reboiler, then by definition we can write YW by 1 minus YW would be equal to alpha W into XW by 1 minus XW. The vapor leaving the reboiler and entering the lowest tray, that is the tray number Nm in this case, has a mole fractions of YW of the component A. The liquid leaving this tray has also composition XNM. So, the point XNM and YW lies on the operating line. because the operating line coincides with the diagonal at total reflux. So, we can write x n m would be equal to y w. Now, if we substitute this in this relation x is equal to x n m is equal to y w, then this equation becomes x n m divided by 1 minus x n m would be equal to alpha w into x w by 1 minus x w. Now, applying the same procedure to the case of tray number n m, we can write y n m from this equation, y n m divided by 1 minus y n m would be equal to alpha n m into x n m divided by 1 minus x n m. Now, if we substitute this x by n m by 1 minus x n m from this, we can write alpha n m into alpha w into x w by 1 minus x w. Similarly, for tray number n minus 1, we can write y n m minus 1 divided by 1 minus y n m minus 1 is equal to alpha n m minus 1 into x n m minus 1 divided by 1 minus x n m minus 1, which is equal to alpha n m minus 1 into alpha n m into alpha w into x w by 1 minus x w. The point x n m minus 1 y n m lies on the operating line which coincides with the 45-degree diagonal. Therefore, x n m minus 1 would be equal to y n m. Continuing the procedure up to the top tray where y 1 is equal to x d, we can write x d by 1 minus x d is equal to y 1 divided by 1 minus y 1, and we can write this would be equal to alpha 1 into alpha 2 and so on up to alpha n m into alpha w into x w by 1 minus x w. We can simplify it as x d by 1 minus x d is equal to alpha average to the power n m plus 1 into x w divided by 1 minus x w. That if we just rearrange this equation, this would be alpha average to the power n m plus 1 is equal to x d into 1 minus x w divided by x w into 1 minus x d. Now, taking log for the both sides, we can write n m plus 1 would be equal to log of x d into 1 minus x w divided by x w into 1 minus x d whole divided by log alpha average, and also this we can also write as n m is equal to log x d into 1 minus x w divided by x w into 1 minus x d by log alpha average minus 1. Here alpha average is the average relative volatility of the more volatile component. The above equation is called Fenski's equation, which is useful for the calculation on the minimum number of trays. The Fensky equation applies to distillation systems with constant relative volatility. Please note that the form of the Fensky equation shown calculates the minimum number of plates. It does not include the reboiler, hence minus 1 on the right hand side of the equations derived earlier. Other text may use a form for the minimum number of stages and not subtract the reboiler. If the relative volatility varies through a column because of temperature effects, it is possible to use a geometric mean value of the relative volatility as is done for multi-component distillation. So, this is possible to use the geometric mean values of the relative volatility. The Fensky equation is used to get an approximate value for the number of ideal stages. Let us consider an example. A mixture of 45 mole% N-hexane and 55 mole% N-heptane is subjected to continuous fractionation in a tray column at 1 atmosphere total pressure. The distillate contains 95% of N-hexane and the residue contains 5% N-hexane. The feed is saturated liquid. The average relative volatility is 2.36. Now, determine the number of ideal trays using Fensky equation. The distillate which contains 95% of N-hexane. Distillate compositions will be XD which is 0.95. Feed mixture contains 45 mole% N-hexanes. So, feed point would be at XF which is 0.45. These two are known. Residue contains 5 mole% N-hexane. So, XW is known, that is 0.05. And average relative volatility of N-hexane is given, which is 2.36. Fensky equation, we can write Nm plus 1 is equal to log Xd into 1 minus Xw divided by Xw into 1 minus Xd divided by log alpha average. If we substitute the values, for Xd is 0.95, for Xw is 0.05 and for alpha average is 2.36. So, if we calculate, it will give 6.8. So, the number of trays including reboiler would be 6.8, excluding reboiler it will be 5.8. This is the way by which we can use the Fensky equation and calculate the number of ideal trays required for a particular distillation operation. Thank you for your patience hearing, and we will continue our discussion on distillation in the next lecture.